Okay, well, boss, I'm going to give a little introduction that should help us today. Yesterday, we introduced really an amazing halacha. I told you it's shocking. The Gemara knows that it's a bit shocking. The Gemara tells us that sometimes when a person makes an explicit bequest, it's not real. That's what the Gemara told us. If a person gives everything not even a bequest in the lifetime, he gives a whole gift of all, he gives all of his possessions to his wife. We say, you know what? He doesn't mean it. What he really meant is he wants the kids to listen to her, and so what? He's putting her in charge, but they're really going to inherit. So okay, we'll discuss it. They know human nature, whatever they said. Now the thing is like this though. There's a reasoning behind it. I don't think I sufficiently emphasized it yesterday. At a certain point, when you want somebody to be heard, you put teeth into it. That's how sometimes let's say a father wants to put one of his kids in a position of authority. If he doesn't give them, control of money or things like that, nobody's going to listen to them. You understand? When all of a sudden their paycheck comes from the kid, all of a sudden they may think the kid's a whippersnapper. All of a sudden they're listening. They respect them. So over here, the rabbis tell us, listen, the father wants the kids to listen to the mother, and what he says, look, it's her, everything is hers. Yes, in effect, everything belongs. The entire estate is hers. She controls it, and they're gonna listen. Now the facts are, he didn't mean that it's hers, physically hers, but that it's hers functionally. And they're gonna listen to her. But really in the end, they're gonna inherit the property, but she's running it. Okay, good. But that's okay. That's what the rabbis told us. But there's a svara here that even counter to the literal words, which sounds like it was absolutely a gift. It's not a gift. He's putting her in control because he wants them to listen. But it's really going to stay. The estate's going to stay the estate as it was before. Now we also we had some cat. Huh? She's paid whatever she says. She runs the household. He wants her to run the household. He wants them to listen to her, pay attention, give her respect, and honor her. Say whatever she, to honor her. Now, to honor whatever she is. She's in charge. Now, we also had several caveats yesterday that we discussed. Some yes, some no. But whatever it is, the final analysis, whatever your opinion is of this halachas that we learned yesterday, that we said that even though a person said, "I'm giving it to her," he really means what? He really means what? I'm putting her in charge, but he doesn't mean he's giving it to her. Now we don't know. This is going to be we're discussing for the rest of the day. Here, is that an absolute or no? I'll give you an example. That makes sense when a man is dying. When a man is dying, he's really just trying. He's not going to be there anymore, and he wants the people to respect his wife. So he puts her functionally in charge, and he doesn't mean to give her the estate. But let's say he did it when he's fine and well. Well, then, hey, he could nobody the respect. He'll crack the whip himself to give respect to his wife, make sure everybody respects his wife. So then, if he said he's giving it away, I'm going to have to assume that what he gave it. He gave it. So that we're not sure. And that we're going to discuss now, and we're going to have an indirect attempt to prove the point. Let's take a look. Okay, he said, "Boy, Rabba." So I guess the question, but Bori, in all these cases that we mentioned yesterday, where we said what he said he didn't say, so to speak, and those he only was putting the person in charge. Hey, okay, what would be the halacha? Okay, hey, pardon me. What are the circumstances where we said it works? When we said it works, what are the circumstances? Is it only a person who's on his deathbed? Who the Shtam and Mila? That's when what he wants them to listen to her, and he's making her a supervisor over the estate. But if he did it while he was well in his lifetime, and he gave such a gift, he's there. Okay, and if he wants him to honor, he's going to honor. So you have to say then, if he gave her all his possessions, he really meant what? He meant everything. He gave everything. Okay. We said no. Or perhaps even by a healthy man, he wants them to start listening from now. And though it's there for what? So since they know that she's in the end, he's really, even though in the end she's going to be in control of everything. So they're ready, going to be what? Giving respect from this moment. Toshma, I'm not sure if he means that just sometimes that's the way he wants it, or he means to say that in order for them, and I don't know if this is true what I'm saying now, or does he mean to say, or they mean to say, the commentaries that if they'll start the way to make sure that they'll give the respect later by having them start now. instead of having them know now than the later. So I'm not, for sure now to then it says, but I'm not sure if he means that also. Okay, Toshma. Okay, come on, let me try and bring you a proof. So now we know what the halacha is. In these cases where we override the literal utterance and say that it means supervisor, is it only when the guy's dying or even the guy's healthy? Let's take a look, Toshma. Let me bring you a proof. We learned the following rule. These are all rules about second guessing the mind of a person in a transaction. That's what we're talking about. Hakosef Paris Nachasav Liishto. A guy said he's writing down. He's giving the use of pracht, okay, of his possessions, to his wife. In other words, to his wife. Okay, go back Suvasa. So when he dies, she is still going to Minakarka. She's going to still collect her ksuba that the estate owes her from the ground, okay, from which he gave her the fruits. And we don't say what, and we don't say, oh, since he gave her such a nice gift, she forgave the lien that her ksuba has from the time she's married on his land. Okay, but let's say he gave her land and the fruit, lemesel shlisha rabia, third, whatever it was, half of it, a third of it, a quarter of it. Okay, she's okay, that much. Go it doesn't matter. We still don't say that we don't say that she forgave it, right? That she forgave her lien, but she'll collect from the other parts that they didn't give her. Kosav kol mechosav leishto. If he wrote all of his possession to his wife, let me just explain something. You know that when liens happen in order. So if my lien is before somebody else's lien, so I get to collect before they get to collect. Now, when a person gives a loan, from the minute that he gives the loan on the paper, he has a lien on the person's land. If a woman got married and then her husband took a loan, who has the prior lien? The wife. From the minute she's married, she has a lien on his property. Right, she has a lien on the property. And later, when the person borrows the money, he has a later lien. So now, what happened was like this. Okay, a guy wrote all of his possessions to his wife. Okay, now everything. Okay, and then it turns out that he had borrowed money from somebody before he gave the gift to his wife, but it was after he married him. So her ksuva, the lien of her ksuva, precedes the lien of the person who the lien of her ksuva precedes the lien of the person who lent her husband money. But
he lent it while he was single.
No. One second. No. Let me say the way I said it. Okay. Before the loan predates the gift. The loan is after her marriage and before the gift.
So it's ksuba lien gift.
Yeah. It's after her marriage, before the gift. So her lien precedes of her ksuba precedes the lien of the creditor, but the lien of the creditor precedes the gift that her husband gave her. And now, so this guy, the creditor, can let's say it's a lot of money, he can undo her gift. But on the other hand, the lien of her ksuba preceded that one. So now we say like this. So what do we do? Rabbi Eliezer says, Tikra matanta. He says, and he doesn't mean it literally. He says, look, rip up her gift. We can read her mind without talking to her, and we know that when she took the gift, okay, she would be happy to let that gift go, okay, in order to be able to get her ksuva. Because what's going to happen like this? If she got the gift, okay, she got the gift, then the creditor's going to take it, and she's out to lunch. She say, you know what? One second, because the creditor's lien on her gift precedes her gift. But she says, one second, but my lien from the ksuba precedes his taking the loan, so I can take the land for my ksuba before the creditor could take it. Okay, I'll lose my gift, but I'll get my ksuba. You understand? So she says what? So we say what? She was never wanted to take the gift under these circumstances. And her ksuba wins. But Chachamim, the rabbi say no. Tough luck. He says, Tikar ksuba, so to speak metaphorically, her ksuba is torn up. Since she took the gift, she was happy to get the gift. And the truth is, Benimtza, okay, Benimtza is karcha bekan, and she's bald from both sides. No, she lost the ksuba, she lost the gift. Now, and she gave, she lost the ksuba, and she lost her gift. Now, that expression comes from this. It's an expression from the Gemara, when a man has two wives, if he marries one that's old and one that's young, so the old wife doesn't want him to be young, and the young wife doesn't want him to be old. Yeah. So the old wife pulls out all the black hairs, and the young wife pulls out all the white hairs. So mikan from this side and that side, he's bald. That's the expression of a person losing from both ends. So over here, she loses from both ends. Okay, this is a long story, but you guys remember, we're trying to remember. Let's keep our eye on the ball.
Why does she lose it?
She let go. She let go. Now we have to see. We have to see. We have to see. Okay, now we have to see. Um, um, okay, but here's the main point. We're trying to decide in these places where we interpreted the person's intention to make the wife a supervisor rather than a recipient. Is that even when the person is well? So we said, okay, but Omar Rabbi Yehuda, okay, Anachtom, Rabbi Yehuda Anachtom said, he said the following: once happened that my daughter-in-law, who was my niece, okay, and that's what happened. In other words, my son, who was her husband, he wrote all of his possessions to her, and then his creditor, who preceded the gift, came to collect the land. And the case came up in front of the rabbis, Ramu, and they said, Tikra ksuvasa, her ksuva gets ripped up, and she's stuck with the gift, and what the gift is undermined by the creditor. And then says karachas mikana mikan. She ends up, she's bald from both sides. But here's the main point. That's an interesting halach, but here's the main point. Taima, what's the whole reason? Why is she not getting her gift? The Yotzo Love Shtarchov. The only reason she's not getting her gift is because there was a creditor who had a lien on the land that he gave her, before the husband gave it to her. Here's the main point. But let's say there was no creditor. You see what? Tanya, the gift was a gift. Well, now, Ubamai, what was the case when the husband gave her all of his possessions? Okay, he says, if you're talking about what? That the person was dying, you already told me before, we all agreed the halacha is when a guy's dying and he does it, that we had no question. He's not giving her a gift, he's really just putting her in charge of the estate. Ella, so you're forced to say, but Bari, the only way to explain this case, where if there were not a Baal Chov, she'd get a gift, is by a healthy husband. Okay, and therefore what? So we proved that point. So you see that this halacha, that when the guy signs everything over to wife, we must be what? Not only when he's on his deathbed, but even a healthy man. Even a healthy man didn't mean it literally. He meant to say, listen, hey, she owns everything. You mind your mother. You mind this woman. You mind my wife. Whatever she said. Umar said, we proved the point. Umar says, no. He says, you didn't prove your point. I can tell you what, that case was only the case that we already knew worked. It was talking about a guy who was dying, okay, and Ravavira, okay, and now remember we had several cases above where we had caveats. Some cases yes, some cases no, and you'll say it was only when he was dying, okay. Ravavira, okay, and Ravavira hold that of the 5 questions we asked yesterday, that everything was good, the first 3, but not the last 2. Or okay, Mukula Bakulu, it's okay, Bakulu, it's going to be all those ones except for okay, meaning what? Meaning when his wife was an Arusa, right, for Grusha Ravina, and Ravina is saying what? It's talking about what? It's in all the cases where okay, Muki law. Bishta Rusa, Bisha Bakulu, okay, was talking about Isha Rusha, Isha Gusha, whatever the cases where we argued yesterday, the cases where she successfully gets it, it's talking about when the person is dying. And the cases where we concluded yesterday, that she actually acquires it, and it's not, we had a question of when a person's dying, maybe even when a person's dying, some cases she actually acquires it, not a supervisor. We had 5 questions, so we had different permutations, but essentially, and actually kind of agree. But that's not the point. In the cases where they said that even when he's dying, it's really a gift and not a supervision, that's the case. So now, but what's the main point? That's what I'm saying. Keep your eye on the ball. The point is, you didn't prove your point. Yes, he says it's not a case. It's not a case that what that it's not that we're saying what that if I didn't explain properly, I showed you what I showed you what we asked yesterday. Is it a supervisor only when he's dying, or even when the person's healthy? So we said we saw over here. If I didn't say correctly, maybe I mixed it up. We saw over here that had there not been a creditor, she really acquired. So it must be what that the law that he makes her a supervisor is only when he's dying. But when he because but it, as long as he's dying, when we said if we said that she's acquiring, it must be what? It must be a case of where he's healthy. You see that when he's healthy, she does acquire, and it doesn't have the law of a supervisor. We said no. You know what? Yesterday we had caveats, and we said there are cases even when he was dying when she acquires. So what? We said case when she's dying, it's those caveats. We said that those cases, when the man's dying, she acquires and it's not a supervisor. So we have a point, because our question is what? In the cases where we say that when he's dying, she's a supervisor, is she also a supervisor when he's well? That was the question. If I mixed it up, I apologize. Okay, but that was the ball game that just happened. Okay, so now the answer is what? You didn't prove your point. Okay.
Can he give away her kasuba, the property that kasuba is based
Well, man, he owes her the money. Yeah, he owes her the money no matter what. It's just that she has a lien on that property. Remember, and she can claw it back. She can claw it also.
But he can't give it away as a gift.
Yeah, no matter. It's his property. He just owes her the money. But whatever he has, it's a lien. If he buys more, she has a lien. She always has a lien on his property, and she can get property back. All kinds of.
If he gives everything away, she can go to
the fact that somebody has a lien on my property doesn't stop me from doing things.
Right.
Maybe in America it does. I don't know. Maybe if you have a lien on property, you can't sell it. I don't know.
No,
But,
you
yeah,
can't. If the buyer accepts the lien.
No, remember, people who buy know that there's a lien on the property. By Jewish law, the buyers know it. They took their chances. That's part of their investment. It's part of the price.
Right.
You understand? They know
Same
that.
thing. In the United States, you have a title search. If you want to accept it, you accept it.
Mhm.
Not to, otherwise, the buyer was not knowing
The
it.
buyer has to know. That's all. Right, exactly. Okay. So now we didn't prove it one way or another. In the cases where we override the language and say that even said it's a gift, it's not a gift, it's a supervision. We only know for sure that that's true when the person's dying, but we don't know if it's true when the person is healthy. Okay. I'm Rav Yosef and Yom Rav Nachman. He said, but about the halacha that we learned, it's about Exhibit A that we just used to try and prove our point, which we didn't succeed. We said when you told, he said the halacha is what? In that case where her ksuva precedes precedes the loan and the loan precedes the gift. It turns out that her ksuva's out, okay, and she's stuck with the gift, and the gift is in, and she loses the gift. Okay, but it says and she is bald from both sides. She loses out from both sides. So 1 second. So now it's going to come out. Our whole question before was what? Did the woman, come on, no woman really accepted that gift to the point where it's going to make her lose her ksuva. It must be she only accepted the gift to the point that she was going to be okay. But she never accepted the gift to lose her ksuva. So he said, no, I'm not analyzing. It sounds like he's saying, I'm not analyzing her thoughts. But it's that what she did, that's over. So he says, what? He says, you want to tell me, so Rav Nachman is not willing to make assumptions, you understand, to make assumptions or presumptions, we'll look at it, about a person's psyche, Well, Tanya, didn't we learn? I'll show you that he himself does make presumptions about a person's psyche. Well, Tanya, didn't we learn? There's a certain person, his son went away overseas on an overseas trip. And then he heard his son died. See, and he has no other inheritors. So what did he do? The poor guy. So he wrote up his estate to give to other people. Okay. And then he gave away all the stuff. And then his son shows up. Then his son shows up. So the first opinion was the gift's a gift. I'm sorry, he gave it. Tough luck. He didn't write down in the gift and say, listen, only if my son is dead. Okay. He says, no, the gift is not a gift. Why? Because we make a presumption. Yeah, we make a presumption that what? Look, someone, had he known that his son was alive, he never would have given it away. Rav Nachman said, when it's clearly, remember, they know it happened one hard upon the other. But anyway, he heard it and he did, okay, we're going to have you want to learn it. But what's the point? He says, look, under the circumstance where it makes sense, we do make presumptions about a person's mind, even when it's not explicit in the contract. So how come over here, he said, the halacha was, we don't look at the woman, she took the gift even to her detriment. Here, the detriment, make up your mind. He says, no, you're making a mistake. You see, make a mistake. What you said is true. He does make presumptions. And over here, what you assumed is the presumption is not what's happening. He's not making a presumption and saying, the heck with it. Gift is a gift. She took the gift. No, he says, I'll tell you, I'm reading her mind, but you're reading her mind wrong. You're reading her mind what she never would have taken that gift if it's gonna affect her ksuba. No, I'm reading her mind, and I'm reading her mind the right way. Shadi awesome, it's different. The nichale, the typical akala, because we don't need a lot of custom. She is so thrilled to have the honor that her husband gave away his estate to her. That he gave her his estate. She's willing to let go of her ksuba. Yeah, don't tell me I'm not a mind reader. I'm just a better mind reader than you. You assume because I didn't read the way you read, I don't read minds. No. I read minds. You don't know how to read, and I know how to read. That's what's going. You said that's what happened. Don't make a mistake. And that's if we answered. Okay, no, it's not that he's not reading her mind. He is reading her mind.
He took the psychology course.
Yeah. He claims it's a better psychology course than the other guys. Okay, tonight.
Yeah.
That's right. Only the
That's
rabbis.
only
Only the
today,
rabbis.
but
Only
not
the
many
rabbis. The rabbis. No, West is going. His own wife's mind. That's a different story. That's a different story. That's a different story.
Besides,
There once was a guy.
these are umdinas.
There once was a guy. He found this old dusty bottle. He figured maybe there's a genie inside. So he wipes it off and he uncorks it and comes out a genie, but the guy is really old. I mean, he's a really, really old genie. So he says, "Are you a genie?" He says, "Yes, I am." He says, "Do you give 3 wishes?" He says, "Yes, but I'm very old." He says, "You can't make the wishes too hard." He says, if they're not too hard, I can do because I'm old." He said, "Okay." He says, "What's your first wish?" He says, "My first wish." He says, "I want, I like to go to Florida in the winter. And I live up in New York. I want a 3-lane highway direct from my house in New York to my condo in Florida."
With nobody else.
Yeah, nobody else. He says, "Look, I told you I'm an old genie. That's too hard." He says, "I can't do it." He says, "Forget about it." He says, "Give me another wish." He says, "Okay." He says, "Okay." He says, "I want to understand my wife." He says, How big did you say you wanted the highway?" He says, okay. Anyway. So you're right. But so who knows? He understood. Maybe his own wife. It's a different story.
Maybe the Umdana happens to be that
that
the wife is so happy to let everyone know that she runs the house, that she's
that's what he said. That's what he said. She's so thrilled.
Happy to say that she runs her husband's life.
Yeah.
But the other way to explain, if she now owns everything.
Yeah.
So what is she? Who's she gonna file the ksuba against?
Yeah, but that's not no.
So
The main point is that she's willing to. This good reputation is so precious to her. She's willing to have it even to her detriment, even to her financial detriment. Right? It's not the point.
It's on the cover of Fortune magazine.
Yeah.
It's important that everyone knows who the boss is.
Right.
You notice, here Jackie Kennedy, after her husband gets shot, etc., she marries the guy who's one of the richest guys in the world. He didn't change the name of the company to Ari and Jackie. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Did he really? Is that true?
Yeah, she got it.
Okay. Tonight also. Okay. Now this is a Mishnah. Again, we're gonna be dealing with when we have when we have second guessing the psychology of a person. Again, we're going to ask if it's under all circumstances. That's what's eventually going to happen here only on this side. Let's take a look. Tonight also. There's a Mishnah in Peah. A guy wrote out his estate to his sons. Because of the ishto karka kolshu. Okay, the guy's dying. He writes to his kids everything, and he writes some amount of land to his wife, kolshu, just any amount at all. And he didn't say whether what he gave her is a gift or is he trying to pay off her ksuva. Ibda ksuvasa. Okay. So she's not allowed to. Okay, so she now cannot collect the ksuba from what the husband gave to the sons. Why? Because we're assuming at this point she's happy with the gift that he gave to his children because he gave her land. Okay. So the Gemara says, one second. I said, what are you talking about? We should the cost of the karka kosher do ksuba. I understand. Does that make it? What's the reasoning here? Because he gave her some land, she gave up her ksuba. Why? Why'd you give up rights to collect from the estate? Land. Yeah. What? No. So let's take a look. So we have 3 answers. course, I can't understand what on earth makes you assume that the woman is willing to give up. Why? Because she got some land. She wants the land, and she also wants ksuba. What's the big deal? Amar Rav. So he says, Rav answers, I'll tell you what it is. It's when she herself was part of the process of giving it. She gave the hanky to the husband in order to acquire the land for her own sons. She's mamish instrumental in acquiring her sons. That shows that she's so happy to give it that and she doesn't want to collect anything. Okay, Shmuel Amar says no. I'll tell you what it is. But no, it's even easier. As long as he gives it to the kids in front of her and she doesn't say a word, that's also good enough. She shows that she really wants them to have it. She doesn't want to collect. Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina Amar, third answer, he says, it's when he's actually said there, he says, look, he said, okay, he said, I'm giving this land for your ksuva, okay, and she didn't protest the fact that remember, she has a lien on all of his property. Now he's limiting her lien to this piece of land. If she doesn't protest, she must be really giving up. How could she not protest? Now, of course, okay, if she doesn't protest, so obviously she accepted it, and that's it. She has no lien on their land. Okay, and the Gemara says, these are part of the idea that in general we are more lenient by ksuva. So, for example, when a woman collects ksuva, she collects it from the bad property and from the least quality property as opposed to other things. Because in general, like I told you, we know that women are more interested in being married than men are. They're more interested in being married than men are. That's the main point, and therefore they're willing to sacrifice it. I told you in general. That's why, guys, you gotta be thankful. Generally, men get a better deal. Generally, men get a better deal than women.
When my little boy was 3 years old,
yeah,
somebody jokingly said to him, "Who's the boss in your family?" And the kid replied, "At 3. My mommy lets my daddy think he's the boss."
That's right. They're smart. Kids are smart. Okay. So that because we have a shock over when she gave it up. The answer is, so we had three presentations of why we can assume in this case that the woman gave it up. Either she almost put it in the hands of the boys herself, or he almost put it in the hands of the boys herself, or what was it?
There and didn't complain.
Is there and didn't complain, or he actually said, "I'm limiting your rights to this piece of land," and she didn't complain. Right. Okay, now we learned it, but we have a problem. It's a little hard for us to accept what these three rabbis said, because if we look at the end of the Mishnah, it seems to contradict it. So we said, the second opinion says Rabbi Yossi Omer, which appears to be an argument in Kibla Aleha. Okay, if she said, I give up, I accept that I have no lien on the kid's land, Alpha Pishalo Kosav law, okay, even if he didn't give her any land. In other words, we said if he gives her land a little bit and gives them everything, she accepted it. He says, Rabbi Yossi says no. He says, if she accepted it, even though he didn't give her any land, okay, it's okay. If she loses her ksuva. Now be careful. So it comes out according to Rabbi Yossi, it comes out according to Rabbi Yossi that either she gives her land or she says, I accept it. Okay, Mechlal this kind of Kamasover. So since he's arguing and he said that as long as she accepts it, it's okay. It must be Ksiva Kabbalah boy. Must be the first opinion holds that it has to be. It has to be. He has to give her her land, and she has to accept it. So now all these rabbis basically said all these rabbis basically said that it was okay, even though she didn't say that she's accepting it. But you see from the way we said it, from the way he said it, she has to have accepted it. Okay. Now, so I got a problem. How can you tell me that the first opinion, held that because even without her saying that she accepted it, she did. Okay. We saw clearly that the first opinion never holds it works without saying it. You'll say, well, maybe you want to answer me like this. No. Don't worry. These three rabbis were correct. Why? Because the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yossi, okay? And the only point of the point of the ratio is that if he writes her anything, then even if she didn't accept it, and the next part, Rabbi Yossi is saying, and even if you accept it, he didn't give her anything. So either way is good. Either way is good. There's no opinion that says There's no opinion that says that she has to receive land and accept it. And the only thing is It's either she accepts it or she receives it. So we said they're explaining if she receives it, why it's good. Okay, Rabbi Yossi, and the Chiddush narration is what, that as long as you wrote her any land, she lost it. And the safer one, as long as she accepted it, okay, even though she didn't get that, it's okay. Okay, and they're okay. It's not true what you're saying. You can't tell me that the whole thing is Rabbi Yossi. Well, Tanya did. We learn on Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, "Amasai." When did the first opinion say? Okay, when did the first opinion say that she lost her ksuva as long as you wrote her land? Because so Haisa Sham v'kibla aleh. Okay, Haisa so v'kibla aleh. It's when she was there and she accepted it. But if she was there and she didn't accept it, if she accepted it and she wasn't there, love the kasuvasa. She didn't. So now I'm stuck. So it's clear that the opinion that they're all trying to explain is an opinion that holds. You can't possibly say she let go unless she said she let go. The Gemara says tiyufta the kula tiyufta. He says you're right. It's a knockout blow to all of these three opinions. Amar lei Rav Nachman, but he said to him, Rabbi said to Rav Nachman, listen. He says. Oh, Rob, he says, but let me ask you a question. He says, we had the opinion of Rob, who explained what that the woman loses ksuba because she was instrumental in making the transfer to the sons. And Hashmul, we had the answer. Shmuel said what that the case was where he transferred it to the sons in front of her and she didn't protest. Rabbi Chanina said what? It's when she said when the husband told her that the lien of your ksuba is specifically on this land. And that all those were three opinions of when she loses her rights to collect from the boys' estate. Mar Surili says, which opinion do you hold like? Which one do you hold is correct? Amar Lei. So he said to him, Shani Omer, he says, me, he says, what I hold. He says, Kosher, Kevin Shasta Shuta Ben Abanim. Once he made her a partner amongst the sons, and he cut her in, but she had no rights to inherit, and he cut her in on the inheritance, Ibda Ksuvasa. Okay? He says she lost the Ksuva, and we don't need any of the opinions above. I don't need any of them. Forget it. I hold none of them. All of them, it doesn't make a difference. Then what? Because I hold like Rabbi Yossi. That really what? That whatever he does, okay, she gives him something, whether he gives her something or she vocal, either way, she's so happy to be in the inner circle that she lets go. I don't hold like any of them. Okay, and Itmar Nami actually was taught that way. Rav Yosef, Rav Yomi, Rav Nachman, Kavish also Shuta ben Abanim of the Kesuvah. So once he cuts her in, like with the children, that's enough for her to get satisfaction. She is mochel her Kesuvah. Okay, and again, just so you guys we don't get swelled heads. You understand? Don't think that women are naive. They're not even slightly naive. And when you think that the woman thinks you're so wonderful, it's just she knows that if you think that she thinks you're wonderful, that things will be okay. So she lets you think that way, and that is the truth, by the way. I hope you hear what I just told you. Don't get egotistical. The women know exactly what they're doing. They know when you're not there, they tell each other what big babies the men are. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And they know, you got to.
My mother used to say, women mature, men.
Yeah. The women know they got to massage the men's ego. They know, so they give into a lot. Don't think they're naive. They're not naive at all. They're
willing to settle.
They're willing because they know how important it is for people to be married, to have children, and to raise and make the world, etc. Women sacrifice a great deal to make the world run. Yeah. Is that true? Is that true? Well, how'd that happen? Yeah, that's the point. They send the guy to work, then they kill him. Then they poison him. No, I'm just teasing. Yeah, I'm teasing.
You know that she what she
Yeah.
did.
I just don't want you to misunderstand. My point. The reason I'm saying don't think when we say that women that will sacrifice a lot for marriage. Oh, because they're not naive. They're smarter. You understand? They're more mature. It's exactly the point. They're more mature than men are. That's really what happens. And they'll put up with a lot for the sake of the welfare of this universe. I'm serious. That's the difference. They're not naive. Yeah, they do. They have a longer view. That's what's going on. They have the bad. That's why the world goes. Well, we only left Egypt because of the women, not because of the men. We would have stayed. The women took us out. Why? Here, what's the halacha? When the Jews are having hard times? Okay, are you allowed to have intimacy? So the halacha is what? If you have children already, You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to have a good time when the world is suffering. But if you don't have children, the halacha is what? We continue having intimacy because we have to have children. In Egypt, the men were so discouraged by the slavery, they didn't want to have children anymore. And the women knew that that's not correct. You're supposed to have kids. And
Miriam talked him into marrying.
And the Medrash describes the incredible lengths that the women went through to make sure that the husbands would have children with them. And they knew you have to do the right thing no matter what. They the ones who understood it. They knew no matter what you have to do the right thing, and that's why. And that's how we got out. And that's why we left. They said, but nashim tzadkanios, because of righteous women we left. So don't fool yourself. If you think you're outsmarting your wife, that's not what's happening. She's letting you think you're outsmarting.
Even a 3-year-old.
Not even a 3-year-old. That's right. Whatever it is.
Oh, wait, we go to Minyan because
There's a guy. The guy. He goes to the next world, and he sees two signs. One sign says, "This line is for all the men whose wives tell them what to do," and this line is for all the men who think for themselves. And he sees everybody is in the line that says the wife tells them what to do, and there's only one guy in the line who says men who think for themselves. So he walks over to the guy. He says to the guy, he says, "How come you're the only guy in the line that says men who think for themselves?" He says, "My wife told me to say it." All right. Amar Rav Nachman. So we answered. Okay, so we answered. Okay. Boy Rav Babari. Now, so this is the connection of this piece to the last piece. Just like in the previous piece, we wanted to know that when we made a presumption, we were not sure if that presumption applies only when a guy's on his deathbed, or maybe even when he's alive, and we didn't prove it. Now the same thing over here. When we make this presumption, okay, that he wrote everything to the kid and he gave his wife one piece of land that she lost her ksuva, he says, "Boy, Rabba Babari, what's the law when he's not on his deathbed? Does the same law apply?" Okay, me I'm reading. Do we say b'shri meira who the yada the lesle v'kamachla? Do we say what when he's dying? Okay, she knows already. Okay, he's sick, and she knows. Okay, that's what he's got, and he's not going to be buying any. Remember, her lien continues. As long as he keeps acquiring, she keeps acquiring lien. It's no problem. But she knows the jig's up. So is it only when he's on his deathbed she knows there's nothing else? Okay, and therefore what if she was going to scream, now's the time to scream because she's not going to get any more property. Okay, and since she didn't, that's why she lost it. That's the svara. That's why we say what that she gave up her rights. Avo Babari, when the guy's still alive, this guy got some more work in him. You know, he gets you can buy more. You get more. Sober, okay, Sober Hardakani, he's going to acquire more property. Okay, and therefore what she never gave up. Oh, then we say no. Hashta mias lesle. It's the same, doesn't matter. Even though he might get more, but since at the moment he has no more, it's the same. It's only a bird in the hand. When a bird in the hand, he doesn't have it. So she gave up even when he's healthy. Okay. So we and we don't. And the Gemara says, "What teku?" We don't know. Okay. One more. We have time. Yeah. Let's do one more. This is who the Amar lahu Palgal Labras. He says, look. He says he's dying. He says, one half of my possessions to one daughter. One half of my possessions to one daughter. But that's what he's got. He's going to the girls. The tilto leitas bepiri, and he's giving his wife he get 1/3 of the produce. Okay, of the produce that's there on the property. Right. Okay. Okay. So Ikor of Nachman the Surah. Okay. Olagabe. Rav Nachman came to Surah. Okay, and he went up to the Rav Chisda, and he went up to Rav Chisda, Amrle, and Rav Nachman said to Rav Chisda, he said, "What's the halacha in such a case?" Okay, why? Because remember, before what was the case, or what? When did we say a woman loses her ksuba? When he gave her some land? But here he didn't give any land. He only gave her what? He gave her the payers that are connected to the land. Okay, but it's still payers. It's in certain respect, it's kind of like movables and not like real estate, but it's kind of like real estate because it's connected to the land. Amar Leisi, he said to him, he says, no, but they're going to see a little confusion. I preempted. Amar Leisi said to him, he said, look, Shmuel said the following. Afilu hikna law ela dekalechad leperosa, that law that if he gave her something, forget about land. If he gave her one tree for its fruit, not the fruit of a tree, which could be davar shelo b'olam, but he gave her the tree for its fruit. He's essentially we're considering a tree for its fruit. Okay, even though when the tree dies, it's not hers. Even though she lost it. That's considered already. He gave her property, even a tree for the fruit. So over here also, he gave her the land for the fruit. Okay, Amar Lei. So he said to the Imar Damashmu, he said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "What kind of ruling is that? When did Shmuel say the Hasan Dakle Begufal? He gave her the tree, which he actually gave her. Kind of. He gave her the tree, which is like giving her the land. Okay, which is like giving the land. Okay, but Hachapir, he says Hachapiru. Here, it's where he just gave her the disconnected fruit. There's no comparison. Amarle said to him, no. He says, he says, Amarle. He said, oh, what do you mean? He said, but oh, you're talking about disconnected fruit. I thought you were talking about what? I thought you were talking about connected food. You're talking about disconnected food, but that I never said. But connected, yes, connected would be enough to call it property. Yes, that we're doing. That we'll call a daf. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, I'm telling you, the book that they wrote 50 books that are false. They call, Jewish psychology. If you would sit down and analyze what the rabbi said about people, all these laws, and you would have a real psychology book, according to the rabbi. But I didn't see anybody do
You
it.
have it, and another Yeshayahu said, Nashim Mashuvam. So that he was saying that men were really in bad shape because they let their wives take over completely.
Yeah.
So, fight for your rights.
If anyone has
Maybe
time and
they're
inclination,
just interested in
tomorrow the
showing
Republican Party is looking for someone to give out some literature near the polling place. If you're interested
Say it
in
again.
law,
I'm sorry.
the Republican Party is looking for people to distribute literature here in
Can I take it and burn it?
Century Village. And
One minute, you can't go,
for an hour or
you
two.
can't put out stuff at the polling place. I mean,
No,
before,
No, he means you can go to the library with it.
and
Right,
outside.
there's a line,
Oh,
imaginary
yeah, they
line.
do at the clubhouse.
Not today, tomorrow.
Go
It's
tomorrow.
almost
Go to the clubhouse tomorrow. 100 feet from the
Oh, you're
clubhouse.
allowed.
Right.
Yeah.
A cockroach don't get between the signs.
But in Georgia, they passed a law that if it's 150 degrees and the people are standing in line for 4 hours, it's illegal to give them a drink
I heard that.
because they want to suppress